Marcus stood in the marble lobby of Pinnacle Tower, holding two large pizza boxes. His worn-out sneakers squeaked against the shiny floor. The security guard barely looked at him. "Delivery for Suite 2400, Marcus said quietly. The guard pointed to the elevator without saying a word. Marcus had been to this building many times. It was the fanciest office building in downtown Toronto. Inside were investment bankers, real estate moguls, and tech entrepreneurs who made more money in a day than Marcus made in a year. The elevator doors opened on the 24th floor. Marcus walked down the hallway, reading the gold letters on each door. Chen and Associates. Morrison Financial Group. Then he found it, Blackwood Investment Corporation. He knocked twice. "Come in," a voice shouted from inside. Marcus pushed the door open with his shoulder, balancing the pizza boxes carefully. Inside the huge office, three men in expensive suits sat around a glass table. The smell of leather and cologne filled the air. One man was on his phone talking about a $1 million property deal. Another was typing on his laptop, barely noticing Marcus had entered. The third man, who looked about 40 with slicked back hair and a watch that probably cost more than Marcus's car, finally looked up. "About time," the man said. His name tag read, Richard Blackwood, CEO. Marcus set the pizzas on the table. "That'll be $42, please." Richard pulled out his wallet slowly, like he was annoyed. He counted out two $20 bills and tossed them on the table. Not in Marcus's hand. On the table. Marcus reached for the money. "Wait," Richard said, smirking. "These pizzas better be hot. Last time your stupid restaurant sent us cold food." "They're fresh, sir. Just came out of the oven 12 minutes ago." Richard opened one box and touched the pizza with his finger. "Barely warm. What kind of business are you people running?" The other two men chuckled. Marcus felt his face get hot. "Sir, I drove here as fast as I could. Traffic on King Street was." "I don't want to hear excuses from a delivery boy," Richard interrupted. He leaned back in his chair, looking Marcus up and down. "You know what your problem is? No ambition. You're probably 25, maybe 30. Still delivering pizzas like a teenager. Let me guess, you dropped out of school." Marcus's jaw tightened. "I have a degree in business administration, sir. From York University." Richard laughed loudly. So did his friends. "A degree? And you're delivering pizzas?" Richard shook his head. "That's even sadder. You know what that tells me? It tells me you're not smart enough to use that degree. Some people are meant to be delivery boys forever. That's just how life works." One of the other men added, "Maybe he should have studied harder." They all laughed again. The next morning, Richard Blackwood sat at his desk, sipping his expensive espresso. He was on the phone with his accountant, complaining about the rent increase notice he'd received last week. "These greedy landlords are killing small businesses," Richard said, even though his investment company had made $3.2 million in profit last year. "I'm not paying 30% more. I'll take my business elsewhere." His secretary knocked on the door. "Mr. Blackwood? You have a meeting scheduled for 10 a.m. Richard looked confused. "What meeting? I don't have anything on my calendar." "It's with the new building management. They requested to meet with all major tenants. It says here it's mandatory, regarding your lease renewal." Richard sighed. "Fine. Send them in." At exactly 10 a.m., his office door opened. Marcus walked in wearing a tailored navy suit, leather briefcase in hand, and polished dress shoes that didn't squeak. His hair was freshly cut. He looked completely different from the delivery boy in the worn-out sneakers. But Richard still didn't recognize him. "Good morning, Mr. Blackwood," Marcus said, extending his hand. I'm Marcus Thompson, Managing Director and co-owner of Pinnacle Tower. Richard's handshake was weak, dismissive. He was already annoyed. Let's make this quick. I have a conference call in 20 minutes. Marcus sat down and opened his briefcase. Of course. I'll get straight to the point. Your lease expires in 28 days. The ownership has reviewed your account, and we need to discuss the renewal terms. Look, Richard interrupted, I've been a tenant here for 7 years. I bring prestige to this building. My clients are millionaires and billionaires. You need me more than I need you. So here's what's going to happen, you're going to give me a better rate, or I walk. Marcus nodded slowly. I understand your position. But let me ask you something. Do you remember a pizza delivery boy who came to this office about 9 months ago? Richard blinked. What? What does that have to do with anything? You called him stupid. You said he had no ambition. No backbone. No fire. You laughed at him because he had a business degree but was delivering pizzas. Richard's face went pale. His eyes widened as he stared at Marcus. That delivery boy, Marcus continued calmly, was me. The room went completely silent. Richard opened his mouth but no words came out. Marcus leaned forward. You see, Mr. Blackwood, while you were sitting in this expensive office making fun of people, I was building something. Every pizza I delivered, every insult I swallowed, every late night I spent studying real estate investment strategies, it all led to this moment, V. Richard tried to regain his composure. Fine. Business. What are the new terms? Marcus pulled out a document. Your current rent is $12,000 per month. The previous landlord proposed increasing it to $15,600. You refused. Because it's ridiculous. Richard said, his voice rising. That's highway robbery. Actually, Marcus said, it's below market rate. I've done the analysis. Comparable office space in this area goes for $18,000 to $22,000 per month for this square footage. You've been getting a deal for years. Richard laughed bitterly. So what, you're going to kick me out? Some kind of revenge? Marcus shook his head. No. I'm a businessman, not a child. Revenge doesn't make money. Smart decisions do. He slid the document across the desk. Here's my offer. Your rent will increase to $15,000 per month. That's actually lower than what the previous owner wanted. It's a 5-year lease with a built-in cap, rent can only increase by 5% annually, no matter what happens in the market. Richard looked at the paper, confused. Why would you give me a good deal after what I said to you? Marcus stood up. Because I learned something from you that day. I learned that some people judge others by their circumstances instead of their character. You saw a delivery boy and assumed that's all I'd ever be. But I saw myself as a future real estate investor who was temporarily delivering pizzas to fund his dream. He walked toward the door, then turned back. You were right about one thing though. Some people are meant to stay where they are forever. But it's not because they're stupid or lazy. It's because they never learned that respect costs nothing, but disrespect can cost everything. Marcus opened the door. You have 72 hours to sign the lease. After that, I have 3 other companies interested in your space at a higher rate. Your choice. He left. Richard sat alone in his office, staring at the lease agreement. His hands were shaking now. 3 days later, Richard Blackwood signed the lease. He didn't negotiate. He didn't complain. He just signed. But something changed in him after that meeting. He stopped being so harsh with service workers. He started saying, "Thank you," to the cleaning staff. When the coffee shop barista got his order wrong, he smiled and said, "No problem, mistakes happen." His employees noticed. One of them even asked him if he was feeling okay. Richard just said, "I learned something important recently. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Treat them with respect." Meanwhile, Marcus continued building his real estate empire. Within 2 years, he owned 7 properties across Toronto and was mentoring young people from low-income neighborhoods about financial literacy and real estate investment. He never forgot where he came from. He still drove the same old car. He still answered his own emails. And once a month, he volunteered at a youth center, teaching teenagers about business and money management. One evening, Marcus was leaving Pinnacle Tower after a long day of meetings. As he walked through the lobby, he saw a young woman delivering food to one of the offices. She looked tired, her uniform was wrinkled, and she was carrying 3 heavy bags. Marcus held the elevator door open for her. "Thank you so much," she said, relieved. "What floor?" Marcus asked. 18, please." As they rode up together, Marcus noticed she had a textbook sticking out of her backpack. "Studying something?" he asked. She nodded. "Computer science at Toronto Metropolitan University. I deliver food at night to pay for tuition. It's hard, but I'm almost done." Marcus smiled. "Keep going. I used to deliver pizzas while I was building my first business. Now I own this building and 6 others. Your current situation isn't your final destination." The elevator dinged. "Floor 18. The young woman's eyes went wide. "Wait, you own this building?" "I do." She stared at him in amazement. That's incredible. "Thank you. I needed to hear that today." Marcus handed her his business card. "When you graduate, if you're interested in real estate technology or property management software, send me your resume. I'm always looking for talented, hardworking people." She took the card like it was made of gold. "I will. Thank you so much, Mr. Thompson." "Call me Marcus," he said as the doors closed. Back in Suite 2400, Richard Blackwood was packing up for the evening. He looked out his window at the Toronto skyline, the CN Tower lit up against the night sky. He thought about that day 9 months ago. The day he called a delivery boy stupid. He pulled out his phone and did something he never thought he'd do. He searched for Marcus Thompson online. Articles popped up: "Young entrepreneur builds $1 million real estate portfolio." From pizza delivery to property mogul, the Marcus Thompson story. Richard read every article. Then he did something even more surprising. He wrote an email. "Dear Marcus, I know this message might surprise you. I've been thinking about our conversation for months now. I want to apologize, not because you're my landlord now, but because I was wrong. I judged you based on your job instead of your character. I said hurtful things that I can never take back. You could have kicked me out of this building. You could have charged me double. You could have humiliated me the way I humiliated you. But you didn't. You showed me something I had forgotten: integrity matters more than revenge. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm just saying thank you. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the reasonable lease. And thank you for reminding me that everyone deserves respect, regardless of their position. You're going to do incredible things in this world, Marcus. You already have. Respectfully, Richard Blackwood." He hit send before he could change his mind. Marcus read the email that night while sitting in his new condo, a modest 2-bedroom place in North York, nothing too fancy. He had learned that wealth wasn't about showing off. It was about freedom, security, and the ability to help others. He thought about whether to respond. Finally, he typed, "Richard, apology accepted. We all have lessons to learn. Keep growing. Marcus." Short. Simple. Respectful. Because that's who Marcus was. He didn't hold grudges. He didn't gloat. He just kept moving forward, building his empire one property at a time, one respectful interaction at a time. And every time someone looked at him and saw just a young black man from a humble background, he smiled. Because he knew something they didn't. He knew that your current situation is just a chapter, not the whole story. He knew that people who underestimate you are giving you the greatest gift, the element of surprise. And he knew that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's success. Did Marcus's story inspire you? That's the power of never giving up on your dreams. If you love this story of poetic justice and an underdog comeback, smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. We drop stories like this every week that'll make you believe anything is possible. Drop your city in the comments, let's see where the Stories Mike family is watching from. Are you in Toronto like Marcus? Vancouver? Calgary? Montreal? Wherever you are, remember, your current situation is not your final destination. See you in the next story. Fire.